we're making pate tonight, and later on today I will be, from the liver, later on today I will be pickling the deer heart. This year we're not going to do anything with the hooves, but we often have made glue with the hooves. Do I need another one? I may need to get one more. So very little goes to waste, and what does, nature takes care of. You know, it's not like we throw it in the dump and it sits there and decays. And you know, doesn't decay actually if you throw it in the dump. It's not like how normal people eat food. A lot of people, I use venison for feeding the dogs, and a lot of people, I've had many a hunter tell me how disrespectful that is to the deer, which I'm glad that they are respectful to the deer. I have absolutely no problem with people showing their respect the way they choose to show their respect, as long as they show it. But for me, it's not. I know where dog food comes from because I raise horses and I raise cattle, and I have seen the render wagons come out and get, they're now render trucks, but they come out and they get the dead animals. So I know where dog food comes from. And there is no disrespect. If you love your dogs and you take care of your dogs, venison, rabbit, bison are all excellent food sources for your animals. Cats, you need much more meat than dogs do, because cats don't digest very well. So with dogs you need almost a 50-50 for a grain and a meat. So you take about, you know, a pound of cooked rice and a pound of cooked meat. I do cook. I know the raw diet is in, and I understand that, and I have no problem with it with my venison. But if you're going to use like chicken or anything like that, and you get it from the store, I myself don't trust store meat to not have problems with it, so I do cook it. But basically, a pound of cooked rice and a pound of meat, whether you want to do it raw or not. You have to cook the grain though, because dogs don't digest grain. They need it, but they can't digest it very well. And then again, a handful, I just throw in a handful of like broccoli or something on that order for, that looks a bit more. Broccoli or carrots, or broccoli and carrots, or, you know, whatever you have for vegetables, because dogs are an omnivore, canines are. Felines are pretty much a strict, they eat meat. But their dogs are closer to omnivores, just like we are, but cats are not. Cats are pretty much carnivores. That's what they eat. Dogs have very similar digestive tracts, actually, to human beings. Oh, I still got a little left, but I better turn that off. Not enough for a can. So, I've got what looks to be, 6 quarts? 6 quarts here. So, we'll get that, and what I'm going to do is just put it into the canner. Get the canner going a lot warmer than what it is. Get it turned up there. And then we'll get, once it gets to heating, and I'll show you all of that, then we will get it canning. Let me get this tightened down, and I'll bring you guys over and show you what I'm doing in here. Okay, because we're going to be putting this under pressure, and because this is all I have in here, I do try to keep my cans from touching each other. You do need something on the bottom. Most pressure canners come with some kind of plate or raised rack to raise it off the bottom. So we've got that. We want it not touching the sides, not touching the bottom, and as much as possible not touching each other. Of course, once they get cooking, they're going to rattle against each other, but you want them to not touch each other as much as possible. The more you can leave room for them to maneuver, the heat and everything to maneuver around, the better it is. So I'm going to put the cover on and get that going. I'll talk about it in just a second. So now how the cover works here is, everyone is a little different. I'm going to do this here. You can see there's kind of a V right here, and there's a V on the handle. So you line those up, and then, and I'm going to have to turn you guys off in just a minute to do this, but then you push down on both handles with both hands, and that is to lock it in place. And they want that safety feature in there because they don't want it to be, they want it well locked in. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to lock this into place, and then I'll come back and talk to you. So this is really easy. This part here, we're basically waiting for it to heat up. We've got it on high. Try to position your cooker a little better over the flame instead of half on and half off, like I just did. You've got a couple things going here. This is your blowout. That's if you get too much pressure, it's going to blow out. This way you don't create a bomb with your pressure canner. That's most modern day pressure canners are not something to worry about. So then we've got this here. This is where your weights are going to go on. Here's your weight. I use weights. If you live on the coast or in a low area like Wisconsin, you don't need to have a gauge. In fact, I don't understand why people would have a gauge if you don't live in the mountains. If you live up above, a certain sea level, you will need to have a gauge so you can adjust your pressure. But if you don't live above that, don't get it. It's more complicated, and because it's more complicated, you can screw it up a lot easier. But the weights come, and I can't do it one-handed, but basically there's the bottom weight, plus it's got two of these weights. If you just had the bottom weight, that's 5 pounds. With one on, that's 10. That's what we're going to be using. And with the last one on, that's 15. 15 is usually for pressure cooking as opposed to pressure canning. So anyway, we've got what we're going to wait for is we want to have the steam start coming out. I wait till this pops. This is the thing that locks the lid. It's also tells you when everything's safe. So as long as it's up, the lid is locked, you don't touch the lid, you don't mess with the lid, and when it drops, that's when you can open it. So right at this moment, the pressure has not started building up, so if I wanted to, I could open it. But once that thing pops up, then that means the pressure is built up so much that if you open the lid, it would go so right at this moment, we're just waiting for this to come up, and then once that happens, I time it for 10 minutes because we want to get all the air out. We just want it to be complete pressure of steam in there. So we wait for this to pop up, and then I turn the timer on for 10 minutes, and then we let all this steam get out, and then we're going to put our weights here. Our weight will go right here, over there. But we, of course, will not do that until we get all the air out, because else you don't have a complete pressure. So come back in a little bit when that happens. So as you can see, maybe you can't hear me, but you can see that the thing is popped up. So we started the timer for 10 minutes, and we're just going to wait. And all the steam, maybe you can see it. See my mess on the back counter. But oh, there's something. You see the steam is blowing out. As we get that 10 minutes and 10 minutes, at the end of the 10 minutes, this will be completely steamed. There won't be any air coming out, and then we'll know that we have ourselves locked in. Okay, so our 10 minutes is up, and we're just going to put our rocker switch on there, and our rocker weight on there. And what now we got to do is we got to wait again, because now the pressure is building up again, and we're going to get up to 10 pounds of pressure, and then this will start rocking as it releases steam above 10 pounds. So we got to wait till this starts rocking at a pretty good rock, and then we will have 10 pounds of pressure. And that's when we start our timing. And we're going to time this for about 30 minutes, for about half an hour. It's quartz. They usually say 25 minutes. I'm going to go with 30 minutes, just because it's venison. And usually when we're talking about it, we're talking about beef stock. So just going to go that extra 5 minutes. So I'm going to wait till that starts rocking real good. I'll show that to you, and then we'll start our 30-minute countdown. So now you can see that it's just a shake in there, so we're going to start our timer down here at okay, for 30 minutes, and then we'll turn her all off and let her cool down, and I'll come back to you then when you can actually hear what I'm saying. So basically we've done our 30 minutes, and I'm turning this off, and you'll see it slowly, the rocking slowly goes down. But what we're looking for, more than rock, we just basically leave everything alone, don't touch anything until this button over here drops again, because that means the pressure has equalized itself. So we don't take this off, because right at this moment that's holding us at 10 pounds pressure. And we don't try to take the lid off or anything, which the new models don't allow you to do it anyway. But we just basically leave everything alone until this little button back here drops. And then you're set and ready. So that's going to be, this wasn't a very long one, so it'll probably be about 20 minutes or so. And then I'll come back and show you. We'll take it apart after that. But gotta let everything kind of cool down, and the pressure is slowly going to release itself. And that's how you want it. You don't want anything fast with a pressure canner. So we're going to let it release, and we'll be back. So as you can see, our button is down, so now we can just basically disassemble our pot. Now be careful while you're doing this, because this was heated up to above boiling. That's what the pressure is. So always open it away from you, and be prepared for that steam to come out, because it's going to come out and it's going to be hot. So as you see, I didn't do it, open it away from me, but that's okay. No, and you can hear the things just popping in there. So I'm going to take this stuff out and show you here in just a second. I got sidetracked there for a minute. Come back here anyway. We took the things out. When you take them out, the easiest way to do it from a pressure canner is if you have one of these little things. If you go to pretty much any place that sells canning supplies, they'll sell it as a kit. You'll get this and some basically useless knife thing and your magnet, which is really great, and a funnel. Usually they sell it in a 4-piece kit like that, and then you get the canning funnel as well. But these things are great, especially if you use regular mouth instead of wide mouth. They just fit right over, and you can lift it up, and then you're not burning your hands. Anyway, so we've got them all. Now there's a little button on top. You can kind of see it's not really, it's called a button, but it's not really like a button that you push. But you can kind of see there's a round indentation on top. When that starts, when it's not sealed, that you can push up and down and up and down, and it just pops up and down. But once it gets sealed like this, you can push all you want on it, and it stays sealed. So that's your way of knowing that your jars are sealed and ready to be ready to be put on the shelf. So you just look for that kind of indentation, because what it does is it's created a vacuum, and it just sucks it right down into the sucks the jar lid right down into the jar itself. And that's what creates the vacuum anyway. So I've got these things. We're going to let them cool a little bit more, then I'm going to date them, put on what, venison stock and the date, and then they go down on the shelf, which I am slowly but surely getting cleaned back up again, my shelves, so that all the meat is in one area, and this will go into the meat area, and then we'll have 6 more quarts of just taking that and sticking that into, you can just dump that into a saucepan or into a soup pan, and put some canned vegetables in there and some canned meat, and you've got soup that all you need to do is heat it through. And in situations like where you got, it's okay guys, it's just the truck coming in. A friend of mine borrowed my truck so that she could move some feed. Anyway, that is, it's simple, and all you got to do is heat it through, and because this is already pre-cooked, and so it's in times when you don't have as much energy, you're wanting a quick meal, or even if you're not on grid and your power goes out, you can have things that heat up very quickly. You can heat them up over, like on a camp stove or something like that, and then you don't have to worry about whether or not they're you don't have to worry about cooking them. All you have to do is heat them through anyway. So sorry, busy watching my truck trying to back up. I have a very long truck, and she's having a hard time backing it up. So anyway, this is canned venison stock, and I'm going to go out and save the side of my house before my truck runs into it. So anyway, canned venison stock.